I just had a recital the other day on Sunday, and it got me thinking, what makes a song to be absolutely maximized and mastered and ready for performances? Because a lot of things happen when you're practicing a song, and more so when you're performing it, and that's kind of what I want to talk about this on this video. This is Pat's Piano Playing, and today we're gonna explore how to master an actual song. Now, there are many types of songs out there, as you can imagine, and we're gonna keep it kind of basic, just so that you can get a general idea of what I'm talking about. And I've been teaching for a really long time. And let me begin with this situation. I've made a huge mistake with some of my students in the past, because when you have a high volume of students, the way anyone ends up, well, me, but this could happen to anyone. The way things can occur if you're not diligent is that when you have a high volume of students, you end up teaching in a factory mode manner. Everything becomes very factory assembled, meaning that you kind of just have one student, you go through exercises, song playing, and flashcards, and then next. And the next one comes in, next one comes in, next one comes in. But in regards to a song, now this is gonna solve that issue, because and I'll tell you a little story. So what happened with two of my students that are siblings to each other, when I have a high volume of students, it's kind of hard to individualize each student in terms of how to teach them. So it becomes kind of like a task to finish the song. And that's no one's fault. It's not even my fault, because these things kind of happen on their own. And luckily I was able to capture and notice like the flaw that I was applying with them, which I no longer do. But this is the situation. If I was to put this in an image manner, every time you learn something new, there's a learning curve, right? And when we think about songs, you can imagine that there's like a learning curve. But many times I would get into the habit of, students are working pretty hard to even finish one song. So I got into the habit of that. At least when they're very, at least able to play the song, quickly we move on to the next song. And the previous song that they worked so hard to work on vanishes into thin air for the new learning curve to happen, a new song to learn. And then as soon as that one is being learned and, they're able to play it, now let's move on to the next song to finish the chapter. And that kept going on for 2 years. And after 2 years, these two students of mine didn't have any songs to show for. 2 years of practice, and then maybe they had like the last 2 songs they finished, but all the long list of songs they did in the past, they did not remember, and they have very little to show for it. And their parents actually asked me about like what's going on with them. Like, I've been paying you to teach them piano, and they don't seem to play much. That was one of the most humiliating experiences I've ever experienced. And you could argue that, well, they're not practicing. I don't like to believe that. I don't like to believe that it's all the students' fault, unless it's obvious. But it was my fault because I didn't implement a thorough way of practicing and a song list. Now, how does that translate to mastering one song? Because although this video regards itself for mastering a song, I'll talk about the song list after all this. Because let's say that you're going to be performing a piece, a song, a pretty cool piece. Now, it was because of those 2 students that I came up with this method. Whenever you're practicing a song and you're going to be performing it, you may not even have to perform it, but the way you want to think about it when you want to master a piece, I believe that it comes in 3 phases. And the first phase, well, there's going to be 3 phases. Let me go over them first real quick. Phase one is gonna be the learning curve. That's the learning curve. That's when you practice the song. I mean, you learn all the techniques. You learn the hand position, the rhythm, the letter notes. You work hard on it. Now, what I did not implement it for the students that I referred to in the beginning of this video is that second phase would be practice at a maintenance. So that would be like a straight line, and phase two would be what I would call high volume tally practice, tally mark practice. And I'll go into a little bit about that in a second. And the third phase would be performance. Like, how do you actually perform this piece now that you have absolutely mastered it, and what is required to do in those steps? Let's go back to phase one. Phase one, the learning curve. This is the phase where you learn what the hand positions are. You learn about the finger numbers, and you learn about the note letters, and most importantly, the rhythm. I remember I made a video about this, the 3 core values. And this is where you identify those 3 things: the hand positions, the key letters, and the rhythm. But afterwards, you're going to categorize and divide all the phrases that are within that music. And I'm going to use this song as an example to keep it simple. This is what you put parentheses every 2 measures, or however long each phrase is. You practice those measures 4 times in a row or more if needs be. You use the metronome on, and you go section by section. This is gonna be a very task-like experience, because all you really are doing is just figuring out the phrases and practicing them 4 to 8 times with the metronome on, and you go through it all. And there's another video that I made in the past called the method of practice, MOP, the method of practice, which in itself has 3 steps: divide, repeat, and combine. This is the phase one, is where you apply the method of practice, where you divide the song into different sections. You repeat each section right around 4 times in a row, and you combine all those sections together afterwards. Referring to the students that I failed on, which they're still my students at this point, that's all they did. All they did was phase one, and then they moved on to the next song. Now, phase one is a good way of learning a song, of learning it. After that, let's say that you're gonna master and you wanna perform it in a recital or in the streets or anyone to anywhere, anytime. Phase two, I call it the high volume tally mark practice. Now, pay close attention, because this becomes very insane on how repetitive it can become. Let's say that you already know how to play this song. Now, well, it's gonna be easy if it's 1 page, so we'll maintain it like that. In the future, I will make a video of what I'm currently working on right now, a Chopin Nocturne, which has multiple phases, meaning that each section of a multiple page song has its own learning curves and tally mark practices and all these things. But we'll keep it in 1 page, just to make things simple for now. Second phase is when you already know how to play the song, but now you just have to maximize the repetitiveness of this song, and that becomes exhausting, but it has to be done. I once made one of my students play a song 16 times, more so with other students that performed the recital. I had them practice it multiple times, like more than 16 for sure. But now, what do I mean by tally mark practices? So let's say that you're playing, let's divide this song into 2 sections. Now that you've learned how to play, now we're gonna divide into 2 sections. And you're gonna play each section 8 times in a row. And every time you practice it 8 times in a row, you're gonna mark it as 1 tally. And then you're gonna go to the next section and you're gonna practice that for 8 times in a row and mark another tally. You're gonna practice it for about, 8. So you're gonna mark 1 tally for 8 repetitions, 8 reps for 1 tally. And I told my students, you got to come back with 5 tallies, 3 minimum, but 5 tallies altogether in order to move on to the next phase. That means that you play the song 5 times 4, it's 40? 40 times. And then the next part is also 40 times. Once you play sections 40 times, more or less, you're gonna play the entire piece another 8 times in a row and count it for 1 tally. So that would be, you're gonna play the song essentially 40 times as well, with the metronome on, precise with the finger numbers and the key letters and rhythm and all that stuff. This makes it so that you have a track of how many times you play the song, because what really needs to happen is you gotta play this song like so many times, but at least you're organized of how many times you're practicing it. Because I have one of my heroes, his name is Alex Hormozy, and he said a very cool thing about like repetition, because when you do like a lot of repetitions of a given task, you have a depth of insight, a depth of understanding of the task that you are doing. And then when you apply it to a song, whenever you practice a song so many times, your muscle memory takes over. And as I discussed in earlier videos about your nervous system, gathering all that data of the repetitive movements that you're doing, muscle memory will do its work, and algorithmic data that gets transferred from your fingertips to your brain, spinal cord, and all that stuff gets enhanced. And that's how fluency is developed, through repetition. I always say to my students that repetition is the mother of all learning. So first phase is the learning curve. Second phase is the high volume tally mark practice, and this has to be done. Now for the third phase, which is performance, this is more ease, but this is the part where you can add small details. And what I did with one of my students, I wish I can ask for his permission to put him on video, because his performance was pretty good. I'll have to ask him, but what I had him do, luckily we had our little stage set up at my work here. And let me put it this way. He practiced the song so many times that we started adding unexpected details to, I would say like 1 week before he was performing it. We extended the song way longer than 1 page. He added some it's like small little trills in his playing. He did all these little details that were not added this whole time, and he was able to add them because he was very well, he had fluency on the song that he practiced. So a few days before his performance was due, all these little details were easily applied, and unexpectedly they were awesome. So now when I had him, he was ready to perform the day before, because luckily he's a Saturday student. I had him go over to the stage, and this has nothing to do with playing, but it has to do a lot with his delivery and presentation. I had him practice bowing, talking to the crowd. And if you think about phase 3 is, I would like to kind of like tap it into exposure therapy. When you just expose yourself to a public environment, you can do this out in the streets, you can do this in a public place where there's a piano, anywhere, and you just have to force yourself to be seen. With an audience, you want to practice talking to the crowd, you want to practice public speaking basically, and you want to practice controlling your nerves when you're in a public environment. This has little in terms of practice, but it has to do more with your packaging and delivering of your performance. This is not as hard work, but it is very important, because if you have your nerves in control, because anyone gets nervous in public, and you are able to deliver and present yourself and present your song with all the fluency and all the high volume practice you've done, your performance will impact the audience. And the more impactful you can be as a performer, the better, because let's not forget, the number one reason to play music is to have other people enjoy it. It's an interactive thing, it's a cooperative thing. You want other people to enjoy, to affect people, to impact people, to make an impact in the world with your music. You're playing, you're highly disciplined and highly focused playing of the instrument. I have a lot of gratitude for the mistake I was able to acknowledge with these two students that I referred to in the beginning of this video, because if it wasn't for their parents bringing it into my awareness about like, oh, they've been playing for such a long time, why do they have so little things to play, I would have never have come up with this system of the 3 phases. Let's go over them again. Phase 1, the learning curve. This is where you apply the method of practice. Phase 2, high volume tally mark practice. This is where you play the song 40 times, 8 times in a row for each section for 5 tallies, and the whole entire song 8 times in a row for 5 tallies, making it 40 altogether. And phase 3, performance, exposure therapy. You expose yourself to the public, you learn to present yourself, and from the high volume practice and developing of fluency, you were able to add the last details that can make or break a performance piece. 3 phases: the learning curve, the high volume tally mark practice, and performance. To be honest, I feel like I kind of rushed this one because I only have like a 30-minute break, and hopefully I was able to put my point across. Let's hope this comes out well in the editing room. And that'll be it for now. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know what you think about this system, the 3 phases of learning and mastering and performing a piece. And check out my other videos here. Subscribe, like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. This was supposed to be a short video, but it turned out to be almost 20 minutes long. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Thank you for watching. Bye.